I saw something I can't explain that changed my life. I saw something in the woods, and it wasn't human. Hey, Reddit. I've been debating whether or not to share this story because, honestly, it still gives me the creeps. But here goes. I was 12 years old when it happened. I grew up in a small town surrounded by dense woods, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone, and the nights are so quiet you can hear a pin drop. My bedroom was on the second floor of our old farmhouse, with a window that looked out over the tree line. It was a typical summer night, humid, still, and dark. I was lying in bed to fall asleep. I heard something outside. At first, I thought it was just the wind rustling the leaves, but then I heard it. Crunch, crunch. Like footsteps, I froze. My heart started pounding. I told myself it was probably a deer or a raccoon, but then I looked out the window, and when I saw it, there, at the edge of the woods, was a figure. It was tall, way taller than a person, and thin, unnaturally thin. Its limbs were long and spindly, and it was just standing there, completely still. But the worst part was its face. It didn't have one. Just darkness, like a void. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I just stared at it. And then it looked up at me. Even though it didn't have eyes, I felt looking at me, like it was staring straight into my soul. I ducked down below the windowsill, my hands trembling. I wanted to scream, but my voice was caught in my throat. I stayed there for what felt like forever, too scared to move. Finally, I worked up the to peek out the again. It was gone. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed in bed with the covers pulled over my head, my heart racing every time I heard a sound outside. The next morning, told my parents, but brushed it off. Probably just an animal, my dad said. But knew what I saw. I started keeping my curtains closed at night after that, and I still do, even now, years later. I've never seen it again, but I swear, sometimes feel like it's still out there, watching me from the shadows. Has anyone else seen something like this? Or am I just losing my mind? Edit. For the record, no, I wasn't sleep-deprived or hallucinating. I was wide awake. And no, I don't think it was a person, a costume. Trust me, this thing didn't look anything like a human. TLDR. Saw a tall, faceless figure outside my